This is episode 5 of Focus on FCPS, a series on education at Global Television Network on Chitramala. Welcome to all of you. I am Vinson Xavier Palathingal, your host and a candidate for Fairfax County School Board at large. Fairfax County residents are going to polls in just over a week. On Tuesday, November 5, they will elect a 12-member school board. I have US Impact Chairman Sanjay Puri here with me. He had a lot of intelligent questions for me, and I thought it is better to discuss it here so that all voters can benefit. Welcome, Sanjay.
Thank you, Vinson. So, Vinson, I thought we'll cover the fiscal prudence plan on your platform today. Can you tell people how can they demand more oversight and transparency, and why is it important?
Yes, Sanjay, you're absolutely right. Many among us tend to believe that FCPS and school issues are a matter of concern for them only if they have children in school. Not correct. Whether you have children in schools or not, you are paying over $3 billion. That is 53% of the entire Fairfax County budget spent by FCPS year after year. 71.3% of the $3 billion plus annual operating budget of FCPS comes straight from County Board of Supervisors. That is the real estate taxes you pay. State sends 16.6%, that is from the state income taxes you pay. And 7.21% of it, the sales tax collected from Fairfax County, which again you pay. That means except for the less than 2% of federal aid we receive, over 98% of the $3 billion plus annual operating budget comes straight from various taxes you pay.
Wow, that's a lot of money. I'm curious how much was the spending historically?
I'm glad you asked that. In the last 20 years, Fairfax County household incomes grew by just 44%, while inflation grew by 57%. That's a 13% deficit right there. In the same period, the real estate taxes grew a whopping 176%. Now look at FCPS numbers. Student enrollment increased by 24%. Number of staff increased by 28%. Now, see what is the actual spending increase. It's a whopping 122%, 5 times faster than the student enrollment. This is not good stewardship of your hard-earned money.
Absolutely not. It sounds to me that we can do better budgeting with FCPS, and then you can control the growth of your real estate taxes.
That is a 100% accurate statement.
So now tell me, what's your plan to control the growth of FCPS budget, Vinson?
See, I'm running for school board to control spending and regain the trust of taxpayers. FCPS with a budget of over $3 billion is a mammoth government entity producing mediocre to poor results. The school board has to represent people and do proper oversight than blindly signing off for unelected bureaucrats. We need to implement zero-based and outcome-based approaches to budgeting instead of the current baseline budgeting.
So, Vinson, you lost me there a little bit. Just tell me the difference as to what do we do now versus what you're proposing.
Okay, we currently use baseline budgeting, where budgets are presented with last year's numbers with additions. We are not going item by item to see whether the line items in the last year's budget had any results produced or was even necessary. That's how we spend when we feel rich. As I explained earlier, we the taxpayers do not have that luxury anymore. We need to start from zero and work the way up, adding necessary items one by one. That's called zero-based budgeting. When we attach expected outcomes to each of the line items, it's called outcome-based budgeting. That's what we need to implement.
I'm now really concerned when ordinary citizens are struggling to make ends meet. It seems like we're acting as if we can afford everything under the sun, and I don't think that's acceptable. So tell me, what are your plans to fix this problem?
Okay. Prolific sole source contracting without competition and lack of stricter auditory framework is a major concern at FCPS. FCPS have auditors, but they report to FCPS. That's not a good idea. The county, along with the FCPS, should implement the Office of Inspector General. Montgomery County do have the OIG. The mission of the OIG is to conduct independent audits, investigations, inspections, and evaluations to promote economy, efficiency, and accountability. They will have the authority to prosecute individuals for fraud. Such OIG will pay for itself through their findings and fraud prevention and recommendations.
Thank you so much, Vinson. That was a real eye-opener. I'm really glad that you're getting involved in school board issues.
That's great to hear, Sanjay. As Socrates had said, letting citizens vote without an education is very irresponsible, and that is why I'm doing my part. Check out the early voting guidelines in case you think you're not going to be able to vote on Tuesday, November 5th. The deadline to register to vote is October 15th. In-person absentee voting begins on September 20th. If you would like to receive absentee ballot by mail, county has to receive your request by mail, fax, or online by October 29th. We have the instructions on voter registration and absentee ballot on our website, vinsonforschoolboard.com. In a few days, on Tuesday, November 5th, I request you to do your part and exercise your right to vote. That's the end of the 5th and last episode of Focus on FCPS. Thank you all.